Ma is currently the subdean of the Faculty of Humanities, Imo State University, Owerri, Youth Ambassador and UN Women Girls Ambassador. She is also happily married with children. Dr. Ambassador, you are welcome to this webinar.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me.
Over to you, moderator. If you're having issues, I will take over from here. Mrs. Laddie, are you having issues with your network? So we don't take much time because it's already 8:32. I'm watching our time. Excuse me. Okay, so let me ask the very first question. I'll start with Professor Zelinjo. Why do you think gender stereotypes persist in politics despite progress in women's leadership?
Why, if I get the question right, why do I think that gender stereotyping still persists?
Yes.
Yeah, what is
despite progress in women's leadership? And I think you can start with what exactly is gender stereotype. So we can understand. I'll move on from there. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Sure, we can.
What is stereotyping?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. What is stereotyping? Stereotyping is assigning characteristics and is usually based on gender. If it's gender-based, you see women as kind, warm, soft, compassionate, whereas males are typically viewed as assertive, tough, and competent. This is just the basic thing about stereotyping. And it is there in every society. But the degree of existence and persistence varies from one society to the other. Stereotyping is just you have characterized the gender, you see them as incompetent, you see them as they have another role to play in the community, and that's what is stereotyping. It's been there since the ages. But as the years grow from decade to century, some societies are trying to minimize it by certain affirmative actions or other things they do in their society to help women and strip them of those stereotypes that is propagated from one generation to the other. That's what I can say about stereotyping.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. I would want Dr. Ma. Are you comfortable if I call you Dr. Ma?
It is Dr. Ma.
Ma.
Okay. But if you can't pronounce Ma, it's okay with whatever you call it.
Or probably we can only say Dr. Ekai, correct?
Okay, yeah, Chidima is okay.
All right.
Okay,
so what would you say stereotyping is all about?
Okay, stereotyping can be seen as an irrational, uncritical, and biased act meted on a person or a group of people because of the actions of others that they share common attributes with. So in this situation, when we talk about gender stereotyping, it becomes a socially constructed belief or expectation about the roles as well as behaviors appropriate for men or women. And this type of attitude is seen as a negative attitude, hasty generalization, whereby a particular group are tagged based on their sex. And this gender stereotyping is seen as a social and global issue affecting women advancement in politics. So in this situation, women are seen as nurturers. Women are seen as incompetent, passive, and not capable of being leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chidema. Now, let me ask the next question. You've mentioned the way the society look at women, I mean, this stereotyping stuff, how it affects women in the area of politics and all that, looking at them as incapable and all that. Now, what are some of those most common misconceptions about women in political leadership? Dr. Chidema, I'm asking you to answer. Yes.
An unknown philosopher says not to have a sense of history is to remain a child forever. And whatever is happening in our society has a background or history. So let me begin with the history of inequality in our society. Because when we talk about gender stereotyping, it started from somewhere. So going back to the Greek civilization affected the society, especially the African society, where in the Greek world, women were accorded little or no respect. In other words, in the Greek, during the pre-Socratic era, women were seen as chattels that do not have dignities. Hence, they were equated to have no rights. Just like slaves, less privileged, the women were seen or equated to be like slaves who have no rights. Just like Aristotle, who is seen as one of the well-known philosophers, he made a popular statement that man by nature is a political animal. When he made that assertion, women were never included, despite that the term man is seen as a generic term, because Aristotle, from history, has been seen as a misogynist, a hater of women. So he saw women as a misbegotten men who were created by mistake. So when he talks about the rights of the citizen in the polis, according to him, women were never involved. So women did not have rights. Now, when we come down to our various homes and families, you see that gender roles, right from infancy or an early stage, the boys and the girls have been assigned a particular role. That's how gender stereotype begins. Now, when we look at it, that historically there's this gender bias role we see in the society, where a boy or the boy child has been expected to behave in a particular way, and the girl child is also expected to be in a particular way. So now, when we now talk about this, stereotype affects everything that the woman does. So when we now talk about the misconception about women in political leadership, first, women are seen as emotional beings. In other words, when we talk about women being emotional beings, they are seen as people, a set of human beings who are incapable of reasoning. Because the human person by nature is composed of rationality and emotion. So the woman is misconceived to be more of an emotional being who is incapable of thinking. Secondly, women have been misconceived, not that they cannot make good leaders, because politics in Nigeria is seen that it is an activity that is not meant for the weak. So women are misconceived not to make good leaders because they are seen as incapable of incapable of withstanding political pressures. So they are misconceived of not making good leaders. They are also said to lack experience. That when we talk about political leadership and the place of women, women are seen as political babies. In other words, they are seen as infants in need of help. Fourthly, they are misconceived to be irresponsible. Hence, they attack all sorts of names like political prostitutes. Even people who marry them, they are seen as maybe irresponsible men or weaklings. So these are some of the misconceptions of women in politics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chidima. Professor Zelinjo, I would want you to make more contributions. You have one or two things to say concerning some of these common misconceptions about women?
Let me be very brutal about some of the misconceptions. If you ask me, 100%. If you ask me, it's 50-50. Women also have misconception about their fellow women. We have to talk about those ones. What are these misconceptions? You know, that women, they carry their effeminate attitude towards leadership. They're not serious. They can't take decisions and hold it firm, which is a very wrong conception. That women cannot be so strong. Let me talk about the Nigeria, because most of the things I'll say here are my practical experience as a female politician, as it happens within our own environment. Sometimes because of the way politics is done in Nigeria, they feel the conception that the woman, the female politician doesn't have the strength to go the hog. For instance, when you schedule meetings from maybe 11 to 4 a.m. in the morning, I wonder how many women would be there to do that. So these are all the conceptions. So they can't be able to, you won't be able to say the woman will be there when the very important decisions are taken. So the conception generally is weak from men. Women are weak. Then from their fellow women perceive them as women who are not women, in quotes. They leave their homes. You want to do politics. You are not minding your family. You are not minding your husband, as if to say you came to this life to look after husband. You know, you're not there to go on your own trajectory. Women are also part of the misconception. They poison the minds of other women that these women you're trying to look at are not the real women. They are not doing what the society. So the same stereotyping from the society is propagated by the women. So I don't want to go into a lot of theory, but I'm just telling you what is happening. So if you're in politics, you have to maybe develop a rubber ear to some of the things, because part of the problem we have, when we go further, we know the women are the problem of the women in rising in politics. I will tell you how it is. Let me stop here for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Now, Dr. Chidima mentioned one of the problems people look at, used to stereotype women, that women are more emotional. Don't you think that the emotional nature of women is an advantage to the woman politician, instead of looking at it from the negative aspect. Particularly, women are most sympathetic, and when they are given the opportunity to be leaders, whether as governors, House of Assembly members, House of Reps members, even president, senators, don't you think that the emotional nature of women will give them more room? And of course, not just will, but has always given a lot of women kind of an advantage over the men. They become more sympathetic. They are more empathic. They seem to reach out to people to really, don't you think so? I'm asking this question. The question is directed to Dr. Chidima. Please, can you just shed light on that?
Okay. Okay, when we talk about the society using emotion or calling the woman emotional being from the negative perspective, they use it as a pointer to bring her down. But when we now look at it from the ethical perspective, we see that leadership is an ethical issue. When we talk about leadership, we talk about influence, and we talk about ability to get a targeted goal. So at the center of ethics, at the center of morality is care. So we cannot talk about good governance without care. And we cannot talk about care without women. So this care we are talking about is also emotion. In other words, women in leadership now use emotional intelligence. Women have, they use this emotion to the benefit of the society, not from the other perspective. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I think we should hear
you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I'm saying is the woman has what is called emotional intelligence. She has emotion. Nobody can deny it. So at the center of ethics is care. And we cannot talk about care without women. But the society uses it, from the negative perspective to bring women down. So, but when women bring in empathy in governance, it makes them to be able to balance, to bring in inclusivity in the society, because in this situation, they will consider the less privileged, they will consider people with unique ability, the one we call disability, they will consider the poor, they will consider women as well as children. That's it for now.
Thank you so much. Dr. Zalinja, do you have anything to add to what she has said?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sure.
Yes, you are audible. Go ahead.
Okay. When women, with this, that they are emotional, I think it's part of the bias and the blackmail. Men are also emotional. Every human being has an emotion, but the woman deploys has for good leadership. First of all, she's a very transformational leader because she tries to carry people, to develop people. Then when you see a woman who is in a position to lead, her emotion about her natural roles helps her in her leadership. If she's a mother, she has compassion. She knows how to talk to everybody. She doesn't have bias. She treats everybody like, oh, this is my family. She tries to get, so that emotion is very, very important. That is what most males lack in their leadership role. So when you see some men who are intelligent, they tend to bring women into their leadership circle, giving them positions. I know where I am in where I do politics. People, they call me to ask me my opinion about things. You might not be in the lead when everybody's out there, but they will make, let's confirm, let's ask her, what do you think? Do you think we should bring this person in? Do you think we should do this? It happens. And again, for the woman, it is how you make yourself to be perceived that will stop them from being that you're emotional. Emotional is a blackmail, I think. But some men who probably were raised by women, who know the worth of women, they might not do it when everybody's on the table, but they will call you and ask you what you think about this and this. And you find out that the following day, when there's that decision to be completed, you find out that the opinion you offered somebody through the back is what is being implemented. But the only unfortunate thing is that we women, until we push ourselves to be at that top, where we now do, where the box stops on our table, then we give the men the emotional advice, the emotional ideas about leadership, and they propagate it, and people see them as the ones taking the decision. Just like every woman in a home. How many men can do without their wives? They say we are the neck, but we control everything. So it's the same thing in leadership. Those who know your worth will always take advice from you. And you do it with a lot of humility. If you do it with a lot of humility, you find out that they keep on propagating what you want to do. That's all I have to say now. Thank you,
Prof. Thank you so much, Prof. Now, there's a word that was used by Dr. Chidema, and that's influence. Let's make it very, very practical. We are women. And I guess at one point or the other, we have been married or we are still married. Influence is what women do to men. We influence decisions at homes, in our marriages, or at one point or the other, we have influenced decisions in case you are not married, or maybe you're a widow, whatever. What makes a difference? I mean, what makes the power of influence of a woman at home, what makes it different from the power of a woman influencing politics outside there? What is that thing? I mean, there are women in the past that have broken that history of stereotype. I mean, they have broken the issue, that effect, that challenge of stereotype, and they have become something in their societies, in their states, in the country. Some from the southeast, south, southwest, in the north, like in the north here, even in Zaria from we had Amina of Zazzau, Queen Amina of Zazzau. She led wars. We have Juan of At. She led wars. These women went out for war. They went out to war, physical war. They led troops. Because sometimes men will tell you that men are more powerful physically. May not really be true. It's this, some of this thing has to do with the mind. So what is it? Is there any difference? Is there any difference that a woman, you are an influencer at home and you cannot influence outside? Is it not part of the stereotype? Let me hear Dr. Chidema respond.
Can you repeat your question? Can you repeat your question,
please? Is there
any
difference? A woman Okay, do we have, let me put it this way, do we have women that have broken records? That have challenged the stereotype challenge. That stereotype something in their societies. Do you know of any woman in whatever, in Nigeria, any state that you can mention that have used this influence, this power of influence that we have as women, practicing it as women at home, and then extended it outside the homes?
Okay. Yes, there are so many women who have made significant changes and are also making positive change or changes in the society. But before I mention them, there was something you said concerning the influence of women in the society. We see that in our society or in the world, women occupy a greater percentage of the human population. In other words, when we talk about the population, women have 2/3 of the majority. And when we talk about leadership, we talk about influence. Women have a lot of influence starting from the family, be it as a mother, as a daughter, as a child, as a sister, as a mother-in-law, and the rest of them. And in as much as women occupy a greater percentage of the population, we begin to wonder why they are not acting in the political space. Just like Prof would say, that the problem of women are women. So what I want to say is that one of the challenges women are facing is that most women have the mindset that they are not yet ready to be leaders. But there are some that that are able to influence both the immediate environment and the political space. We have some women of substance like late Professor Dora Akunyili, who was able to navigate both her family affairs with the political affairs. The NAFDAC issue, she was able to curb corruption via production and distribution of fake drugs. She, in short, Professor Dora Akunyili made NAFDAC to be popular in Nigeria. Also, we have Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. We also have Obi Ezekwesili. We have Diezani Madiokwe, and the rest of them. There are so many of them who were able to navigate or balance both the family and the political space. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Chidima. Professor Zelinjo.
Ma'am, I'm here.
Can you continue?
Okay, in terms of influence, let me just give you an analogy. When you say we have influence in the home, it's almost 50-50, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're equal with our husband, but it's almost at par. What influence do you think a woman will have? Let me use the Nigerian Senate as a typical example. The women in the Senate are less than 3%, so the men about 97%. Don't forget that this 97% is people who are innately biased about women and their capability. Some of them are threatened, their egos are threatened. But if you want to rein in that sphere of influence, it will be very difficult when you're the only person sitting on the table. When I say the only person, the percentage of people of the same gender are few. Even when you have some members of your gender, like what we're experiencing in the Nigerian Senate, if they don't have the confidence, if they don't have what it takes to stand firm, you will not even get support from your gender. So what do you do as a woman? Let me say that probably that was why all these leaders, Benazir Bhutto, Margaret Thatcher, then did. Once you get at the hem of the affairs, you will find that some men will begin to fall behind you for apparently what they perceive they can get from you, and knowing that the confidence, the brilliance, the intelligence you bring to the table, they cannot beat down. Now, let me use the Nigerian scenario. I keep on arguing this thing with men. Why is it that they're always giving us woman leader? And I ask the women leader, why is it only Angara and Kolanut you're always serving? What is your sphere of influence? Can you sit in that state executive and say, no, this is not going to happen? No, they won't say it. Cannot. Then the men will threaten you that they'll remove you from that position and they will actualize it. So the woman is beaten down. Once they see you that you're vocal, maybe they bring 50 million, you say, don't share, let's use it to do this. Or they say, are you the one talking? They'll say, this woman must go. And you must go. How many people? So all they do is they keep quiet. If you decide to be vocal and do the challenges, there's one caveat. If you're lucky that you have one of the top men as those who make the decision, who understands your capability, who respects your capability, what you bring to the table, whether behind or in front. Once he has your support and you know it is solid, go ahead and do what you want to do because he will always back you. He will get the other men to form. If not, on that table, those people you're talking with are completely biased against you, especially when they see you can rise. They want to beat you down. And that is the problem we're having in politics. So that influence has to be there. If you look at the home, the woman is only there with her husband. And she has a brain. She knows what is affecting the family. She can give proper ideas, push it subtly. Oh, send Johnny to Navy Secondary School. It will be good for him. I know somebody who has gone there and is doing well. That is an influence. She keeps on pushing it softly. But suppose there are 5 men there and you're the only woman and you say, okay, let's send these children to Navy. They say, no, why? It takes a lot of money. And then send them to the local school. The next thing you say, let's put it to vote. You're voted out. So that is the problem we're having. But women have success. Once you get yourself to a certain level, you begin to push your influence. It will work with you because some men will recognize what you're carrying within you and begin to give you all the support you need. Then that's when they say you begin to make deals. You begin to try to see what they can offer and what, give and take. That's what happens. So that's why women are where we are. How many women are in the state assemblies? How many women are in the only woman, most women in the state school is the woman leader. What is she doing there? I keep on asking, what is the woman leader doing there? When I see them, I say, don't take that position, but they'll take it. They'll take it. They just do it. They stereotype you, your woman leader. Do this. When it's time to buy Colonel, they give you money. But when it's time to take serious decisions, in fact, they'll have meeting at your back. You won't even be there. And you don't have a voice. So that's what happens. We're not equal. We're not at par. The number of women, I'm not saying we can be at par. It's a very long journey. You can imagine when we have 50 female senators. The only time the influence is working is only in Rwanda. And you know the story of Rwanda. Rwanda was a circumstance of war, genocide, where they killed almost all the men in the country. And you had only women when they returned to democracy. Their parliament has almost 80% as women. So what kind of influence will they propagate there? They will. but it will be for some time. Give Rwanda another 50 years, the men, 50 years, the men will come up and begin to push the women again. But for now, they are in charge because there are no men. The men, most of them died from the genocide, the war, and everything. So in Nigeria, tell me the year you think we have up to 30 women senators. It has never happened. The maximum we had was 10. Even when this woman became the Speaker of the House, Ete, you know what happened to her? She was literally run out of the House of Representatives as the Speaker. And it was men that set her up. Because when they feel threatened, they begin to do things. And other men will support them because they are more on the table. Let me stop it now at this point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Doctor. Thank you,
Prof.
Prof. Please, Doctor, can I ask a question here?
Concerning moderator, we have time for questions.
No, I just want to add based on what you have said now. I want her to expatiate, please. Can she expatiate based on what she have just said concerning the number of women in the Senate? And I am looking at it that if our problem now is because women are very, very few, why is it that women are very few in the Senate? Is it that we don't have money to contest, or is it that women, up to today, we have not felt that we have got to a point whereby we should do better than what we are today? Or is there any setback that is causing us not to do what we are supposed to do to make sure that we put ourselves in the National Assembly? This is based on what she has said. I want her to expatiate more. Thank you.
Can I say something to that? Let me just make a comment on that. Why don't you have women? First of all, remember that the tickets are given by the political parties. They don't give women tickets. They do not. The Nigerian circumstance, they will not give you a ticket. First of all, getting a ticket in Nigeria is expensive. Do you know how much the governorship candidates paid? APC paid 50 million. Labour Party paid 30 million. Apoga, anyway, their own might be free because they are in the incumbency category. So which woman has 30 million? 30 million is just for the ticket. When I tell you what it takes to run a primary in Anambra, a state like Anambra, it will take you more than 1 billion. Quote me anywhere. More than that, it depends on what. It will even exceed that. Now that APC is in the equation, it will exceed that. So it's a lot of money. So no man, if I come out as Zerlin Joy Gwez and say I want to run for governor, they will not give me the ticket because they know I don't have the money. And another thing is that, why are the women not there? The stereotyping and the biases has percolated down the grassroots, those who vote. Even the old woman who is in your compound will say, is it a woman? How will she do this job? Let's vote for the man. They have, the thing is there, very serious. That is what we're going through. If there's a man and a woman who is competing in a primary, they'll vote the man. Except all the powers in the party are behind you. And they say this woman is going. If not, they will not, what do I mean by they are backing you? They are paying your bill. They are paying the delegates because it's a lot of money. If they don't come to your rescue, you will not win. Let me give you one practical example. I was with one woman during the last cycle of governorship election, a woman of repute. We told the entire Anambra state, 21 local governments, spent our money. She spent so much money. Money was coming from people who were trying to, because her father, she had a political pedigree. Do you know that during the primaries, she had only one vote? One vote. The vote came from the person who nominated her, who believed in her. One vote. But everywhere we get, we say, Oh, you're going, you know, the normal. She had only one vote. For me, it was very discouraging for me as a person, because I know what she went through to run the whole length and breadth of Anambra State campaigning, because she was a woman. She has done a lot of job in the federal government, holding certain positions which we were, you know, trying to sell to the electorate, but they never voted her. They never. Let's take America, for instance. America, after almost 300 years of democracy, they still see a woman as unfit to rule America. But maybe in other countries, Finland, Bruno Zebetio was the first woman who was a prime minister in a Muslim, 100% Muslim country. So some people are breaking the ceiling. But here, once we don't have the financial take, the men will not look your way. First of all, the person that has the financial muscle, they also intend to take money from him. So if that money is not there, so how would they get the money? So it's a very complex thing.
Thank you, Prof. There is this phrase that you and Dr. Chidema have used: women against women. Women against women. Now, the question is, men deliberately use that phrase, because most times it's even the men that use it. They use that phrase so they can have upper hands. They use that phrase to kill our desire for anything woman. If we believe in ourselves that we can do it, and not just do it, but we can even do better, you know, looking at the unique nature of women and those special things that God has bestowed in women, running the affairs of even the home and all that. Don't you think that these men are actually using this phrase to weaken these women? And is there nothing that can be done by we, the women? I think it's, to me, I mean, I don't know. Is it not possible for us to use, to discourage other people, discourage women from using that phrase, women against women? And that's why we are where we are today. Dr. Chidema, please. Dr. Chidema, are you there? Professor Zelenjo.
Okay, let me, women against women. Yeah,
Yes.
what they are saying,
Hello?
there's some reality to it.
Can
But
you
let
hear me?
yeah, I can hear, is Chidema talking?
Yeah, let her go. Let Chidema contribute.
Okay, let her come in.
Before you come in.
Okay.
Okay, let her.
I was asking if you were saying something about women opposing themselves, because network is not so stable here.
Okay.
So that I can answer.
That's what she's saying. That's what she's saying. She said women against
All
women.
right. Okay. Now, when we talk about
Don't
women
okay, go ahead.
hating themselves or women opposing themselves, is one of the fundamental issues affecting the advancement of women in the society, be it in the academia, in the political space, religious space, and the rest. Now, even when we talk about gender bias, the men stereotype women and the rest of them. Now, let's look at it this way. Most times, the women are seen as the power behind the throne. In other words, there was a book written by a popular philosopher called Chinwezu. Chinwezu, in his book called The Anatomy of Female Powers, analyze that women in the society are seen as powerless, but in the actual sense, women are very powerful. That we have a king, the king may be a man, but the woman is the influence behind that throne. Now she has an influence as a mother, she has an influence as a wife, she has an influence as a sister, and so on, even as a daughter. Now, when we now talk about how a child is being raised, we are talking about nurturing. Then this stereotype, this woman hating, I think women have a lot of issues or a lot of things to do, because most times I ask the question, what do we tell our children? It is a truism that women have a lot of influence on their children. And most times, children listen to their mothers. When it comes to hating, if a man comes out for a particular position and a woman comes out, because of what the women, or both the women and the men have been told, their mothers or whoever must have told them that they should always go vote for the man because the man is more competent, why the woman should be at home. Now, I had an experience some time ago. I entered a public vehicle and two girls were discussing. The other girl raised an issue and asked her friend to, what she felt about the issue. And based on what she said, she could not offer any solution. She could not add anything to what their discussion. I felt so bad that I had to turn to her that this is 21st century, that gone are the days where women are seen and not heard. That in this situation, women are seen and also heard. Even when you look at her eyeball to eyeball, you see that I couldn't convince her. Now, when it comes to hating, women hating themselves, the men may use it as a tool, yes, because they have seen that women hate themselves. Women do not want to support themselves, just as I will always say that women occupy a greater percentage of the human society population. Once women are ready for any position, if they are out that they want to be the governor of any state or they want to be at the presidency, you see that they will make it happen. But because of the mentality they have, they are not ready. It's only a few of us that are ready. And because of what I call them, the crab mentality, I call it the ideology of Nshikism. Women, because of the mentality, the mindset they have, because they know that they are incapable, therefore, no woman should come out for any position. So when another woman comes out who feels that she is competent, they will do everything within their powers to bring her down. So that is one of the factors affecting the advancement of women in every sphere of life. So because women raise men who intimidate women raise men who violate women and the rest of them. We have fathers, yes, we have mothers, yes, but most times the children spend more time with their mothers. So until women begin to unlearn so many things so as to relearn, then there will be no positive change. As we are talking about accelerate action, how do we accelerate actions when our mindsets have not actually changed? Because the mind is the master. If we want to achieve positive change, it has to begin with the mind. So until women begin to change their mentality, until women stop being antagonistic towards one another, this advancement we are talking about in Nigeria will be a fairy tale. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Chidema. We will go to section of very soon. Well, before, let me ask this question. What are the biggest women face entering politics. Now, 2027, the political game of politics will start. There are some women that are planning to contest. Some have declared their intentions, some are yet to declare their intentions. They are still thinking whether to contest. What are some of these biggest challenges that women will face? 20, towards these 2027 elections. Professor Zelinjo, please.
You know, the problem of politics, the way we do politics in Nigeria is not how they do it in other places. You saw when Kamala Harris came out. It's not her money. The party has a way of raising money. The major problem that will hinder women from even contesting is finance. You don't have the money. Let's face it. Women don't have money. That is the primary thing. Even when you have all the prerequisite qualifications, there must be money. Call a meeting once. Tell them your desire, you want to represent them. They know they'll get proper representation. They say, this woman is very qualified. She has been helping us in our community. She's been doing this, but doing this. Tomorrow, your opponent calls them. Give them kola nut. Gives them well-prepared soup. Gives them 10,000 transport money. My dear, you have lost it. Next time you call them, they will not come. Few will still come, but the majority have moved on. They are looking for people who have more cash. So finance, finance, finance. Get yourself prepared. Women are very intelligent people, very intelligent. A lot of them also have integrity, a lot. Those who want to go for positions, but they don't have the money. Until maybe the party you go, you compete with a man and they pick you to represent them, having considered what you've been doing in the grassroots, and the party has to finance it, then more women will be able to get into positions of leadership where they can influence and take decisions that will make more women come into politics. Another thing is that as the years are going in Nigeria, there are no people to look up to as female politicians. Who are you looking up to? A lot of them will not come out. The ones that were there have been beaten down. The men have taken over because of money. Because of money. They've beaten them down. So who is the young girl looking up to? And say, oh, this is my mentor. She was in the Senate 3 times. I want to aspire like her. Let me start with. Then the senator comes down and begin to sponsor the young girl who is out of university, who wants to be a counselor. That's another thing. We must have mentors and mentees. And it's the females who do it. The men don't do it. They can't do it for you. They can't. And the senator, if you get to the position of Senate or House of Rep, you have enough money to now pick some young girls from the university, nurture them, make sure they become counselors, make sure they are part of the ward executive. From there, they'll be growing. And because some of them, once they begin to rise, they become very assertive. And depend on what work they do in the wards, a lot of men begin to respect them. First of all, they went to school. Education is very important. You can't put a woman who doesn't have education in Nigeria, the best she can be is ward mobilizer. That's all they give them to do. When there's palliative, they give them. Finish. I'm telling you the truth. But if our girls have gone to school, they need a mentor. We need a mentor who, first of all, put her as a ward counselor. She has begun to enter the circle of influence. By the time she's 25, 26, 27, 30, she has gone to the local government. And from there, one day she'll find herself in the State House of Assembly. From there, she will move. Because once you begin to increase your circle of influence, you become very important. But finance is very important. Where do we get the money? It's not children's money they used to do politics. So it's not children's money. I don't know other states. For in Anambra, it's a lot of money.
Thank you, Prof. Oh, I used to think that in the South, they don't even use me to do politics. In the North, okay.
I can't hear you. Can you repeat everything you said? I didn't
want to.
It was breaking.
Dr. Chidima, no problem. Thank you. I say thank you, thank you. Dr. Chidima, contributions.
Can you come again? I didn't hear you.
Any contribution?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Do you have any contribution towards
sure, I do.
What happened?
Okay, when it comes to the biggest challenges women face in the world of politics, okay, the first one has been mentioned, finance. Then the second one is balancing family life and career life. The society has expectations for women to be caregivers, and this particular expectation conflicts with their professional or political life. So the ability to navigate or to balance this two fundamental parts of one's life becomes challenging in the life of an aspiring woman or aspiring women. Then another factor that challenges women in the political space is the issue of gender-based violence. Women face a lot of threats, violence, harassment. This could be physical, this could be online, and okay, so it's important to note that this affects women or pose a serious challenge in leadership. Then we have gender discrimination. Women also face a lot of discrimination because the political space is male-dominated. And in as much as it is male-dominated, they'll find it difficult to accelerate. They find it difficult to have access to financial resources and all that. So all these things pose a threat or challenge to women advancing in politics. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, can you provide make some suggestions? You have identified the entering politics or the possible things which could hinder women's participation in politics. From Dr. Chidima, Professor Zelinjo.
What I'll
solutions? We're looking at solutions.
I'll just say a few things. The solution that going forward that will help us. First of all, let me tell you something, what I've observed. You know, women congregate according to their class. All of us seated here, all on this platform know it. And it's a very bad thing for our coming together to do things together. I've been in politics. When women go out for their campaigns, they aggregate in a class. The other women look from the other side of the fence. They see you people are those ones that are there. They might be wives of the big people, party, big wigs, whatever, politicians who have arrived. So you have to calm down and embrace the other women. That's why they don't, when it's time to knife you on the back, they do it. Yes, they remember the way, because women don't like people segregating again. Let's face it. You can't be doing that to another woman and she has an opportunity. Whether she's a cleaner, she knows when to hit back. So we must come together as women. Those of you that are up there, be humble enough. Come down, embrace all of them. Talk with them like you talk to a sister. Enter a room, talk with them, tell them everything. Throw away all your titles and just be like them. Tell them you're working to make the women together. Once you segregate, there's always segregation. Women like to segregate. Their dress is different from the dress of the other people. Their shoes are different. It's not helping us. That is number one. And another thing is that because the positions for women are few, women tend to claw themselves, fighting for the same position. They give us very small position. And some women will go behind. Let me tell you something you don't do in politics. Once you begin to compromise and use your body, you are done. You are completely done. I went for a meeting today. I'm in a circle of men who make decisions in this place. They were telling me about one woman. And I said, I'll speak to the woman. A man was telling me, showing me his phone, the money he sent to her. Don't do that. Once you do that, you're finished with them. You won't get any important thing with them. Those of them who are inclined to try to have their way with you, they will. They will. They will have their way with you. And they speak about you. When I stay in the room, you know, one thing I discovered, stay in a room where you have all men and they are making vulgar jokes. What do you do as a woman? Because I'm older, I can take the jokes or I just keep quiet. Sometimes I, caution someone, banter with someone and I say, don't say that. They make, once you're a woman in a room, they have 19 men. They are making vulgar jokes out of anything that is there. What do you do? This is what puts women away. So you have to prepare your mind. You have to keep your head straight. Hold your integrity. No, why? Let me tell you one case I had the other day. I went for a stakeholders meeting. One stupid man, sorry to say if there's a man here. When the man talked, he was sitting next to me, he would touch my laps. I turned to him, I said, don't try it again. He's touching me like that. What's wrong with you? Is that why you came to this meeting? After that, when I go to the meeting, the man doesn't even try to see. And I raised my voice to make sure that other men heard me. I was almost one or two women in the room. So these are if you don't stop it at that point, they'll continue. Maybe they were testing my will in terms of sucking up to them. I said, don't do it again. Never you do it. Sit on your chair. Don't touch me like that. I don't like it. So I raised my voice. Some men looked at him. And I'm sure after the meeting, they'll tell him, don't do this kind of thing. So you have to make up your mind that you're going to do and keep to it. Whatever they do to you, don't get pushed to do. Just keep to it, working on it. Been in politics for a very long time. It takes time to go. You have to keep on with them, keep on with them. When you have the time, dress the one you want to dress down. Dress him down very well. He can't pursue you from the party. If you're a grassroots person, there's even the danger that when you live with your group. You go and demarcate them. So just do what you're doing and do it and keep to it. Nothing will happen to you. It will take time, but it will happen. Another thing you have to know is that most women like us get into politics after our children have grown. And we enter late. I say we enter late in quote. How many Nigerian girls, women started doing politics when they were 16? Abroad, you see them. So we must encourage our women. That's why I say mentees. Mentor them from a young age. Push them. By the time she's getting married, her husband knows that this one is a politician. She has been doing it and nothing has happened, and she will continue. What age? You enter politics when you're almost 50 or 50 something. How many years do you have to go? That is the problem. And at that time, you don't even have money. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Zelinjo, for this. Solutions, Dr. Chidima, please move on.
Okay, thank you. Solutions to breaking gender stereotype. Okay, the first one is through creating awareness and advocacy. And this can be done through public enlightenment program, educating the public, even through radio programs, because radio, the media, especially the radio, is one of the ways through which the grassroots get information. Radio is very, very accessible in every local government, in every area, especially in the local government areas. There should also be affirmative action policy. Affirmative action should be considered by the government, in the sense that those groups that are being marginalized should be given a sense of belonging, which women happen to be a part of. Then there should be leadership training. Okay, women should be encouraged to acquire leadership training. This will help them to develop their personality, confidence. And this can be done through workshop, seminar, conferences, and the rest of them. Also, there is need for political and legal reforms that will combat violence against women. In other words, you can call it gender-based violence that will violate any person, be it the male, be it the female. But in this situation, you can talk about gender-based violence, especially on women. So there should be political and legal reform to combat violence against women. There should also be anti-harassment laws. All these things will help to break down gender stereotype. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chidima. And
You're welcome.
Thank you, Professor Linjo. It's been a wonderful moment hearing your voices, taking practical examples. This particular topic, the discussion today, I would want at this moment to give opportunity to comments or ask questions, and then after that, have a closing prayer and then leave. So the floor is comments and questions and contributions. But please, let's keep it by 10, the meeting will be over.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I've had all your wonderful, beautiful suggestions and submissions concerning today's topic. And I have had most of us talking about how the society describe a woman and how the tradition look at a woman and how our culture look at a woman. But I want a woman to tell me, how does she look at her own self? Because by so doing, we'll be able to define ourselves. By defining ourselves, we know our positions better. So please, can somebody just define what a woman is? Since all of us are women here, can we define what woman is all about? Not the way the society describe a woman, not the way the culture or our tradition describe a woman, especially Prof. Please help us to describe what a woman is. Thank you.
okay, how with a woman? Because thank you very much for that submission. You asked me to define a woman. A woman is somebody who has unexplored innate capabilities. A woman has such a tremendous capability. If you can tell yourself true, there's nothing. That's where it starts. It starts from the mind. The woman is capable of doing so many things. She's also capable of the natural role God has given her. She does it 100%. She's also capable of leadership. You have to believe in yourself. You wake up one day, you say, I can do it, and you will do it. Also said that this is a woman. Because that is the thing. Part of the problem is that I'm a confident, let me tell you, for me, I look at myself and I affirm I'm a confident woman. I have a voice. I'm assertive. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And nobody can make me not to do what I don't want. And that is what guides us in raising our children and living in our respective families. So the woman is a strong person. She's tenacious. Let me give you an example. One of the women I respect, although we used to be in the same party, is Senator Uche Ekwunife. She's a woman that is made of steel. Steel, when I say steel, she's a woman made of steel and she believes in herself. So she's that type of woman. Women in Nigeria are very strong, but we must think about how we will be able to. Politics is money. Anywhere in the world, politics is money. And the women don't have the financial capability. What do we do? Are we in businesses? How much do we earn? Or how much can we steal from government? Because some of these people, and again, some men invest money in politics and they invest in men because those are the ones that will give them the money back. Do you get what I mean? Give them the money back in quote. So the women in Nigeria, we're good women. We can do everything we set our mind. We can start with experiments, go for something. But again, there's a lot of violence in politics in Nigeria, and that beats us back. That is it. If they tell you they are fighting in a particular polling unit, I know you will not go there. You don't want to go there. So these are bad men are ready to go there, knife themselves, carry the money there, and zoom off. So we're good. We're the same thing where the women from other parts of the world are not better than us. We have what it takes. Nigeria is a blessed country, but we must find a way of moving forward, supporting ourselves. And together we can experiment on very small things. This COPDEM Women's Committee, we can set up some experiment on how we can move ourselves forward politically, get people in leadership, lobby for women to be put in. Another thing is lobbying. We must have the ability to lobby. Who do you know? In Nigeria, who you know does everything for you. So we begin to find out who we know and what they can do, whether it's through our husband's friend, our brother's friends, our friends' friends. You must lobby. If you don't lobby, it's all over the world. You cannot get what you want. So that's what I have to say. We will get there. But maybe it will not happen in my own generation. But I pray that those coming after us will be able to actualize these things one day. It's painful, but what do you do? That's where we are. We don't have any female governor in this country. That's the 60s. There's no female governor. Wike did something. When they say Beijing affirmation, is it not? Wike did something, although it depends on how you see him, because I live in Rivers State. Every local government chairman has a deputy who is a woman. He did it for the 8 years he was there. That was how some women were lifted politically, became visible, because for you to get anything, you must become visible first, and somebody must lift you. So those are the things. We have to press Tinubu to quotarize, parties to quotarize their tickets, and saying like, 30 or 50% or 40% of people in the Senate must be females. Every political party work towards it so that when you're sharing tickets, 60 goes to men, 40 go to women, and let's see who will win. If we don't do quota, we'll not get anywhere. I'm just sorry. I know what that's the way I look at it. People might look at it in another way, but we have to. This affirmative policy, number 1. 2 is quota. Quota does a lot of things. Say 40% of women. Let Tinubu do it for us. Let's do it. Let the governors do it for us. That 40% of the people in the state assembly must be women. Parties will look for women who are capable and bring them out. And when the electorate, it percolates to the electorate that women must come, they will vote for women because they know the women who are capable. So that what? If we don't get it and say we want to fight on our own, they will weed us away from the party tickets. First of all, weed us. And if they weed you out, so how are you going to go and contest? And there's 2 parties in this country now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the opportunity you've given me. I like talking about politics. It takes my whole day. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. In fact, that is why I brought in this question, that a woman have all the capabilities, a woman have all the opportunities, a woman have all the zeal that it takes to become, to veer for any
other
of these
comments and questions?
Okay, can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay,
ma.
on the question, who is a woman? Now, when a person gives birth in our society, in the African scenario, we first of all rejoice that a child has been born before we ask if it is a boy or a girl. And when we rejoice that a person has been born, now the issue is now that the woman is a person. She became a person before becoming man or boy or girl, as the case may be. Now, the woman can be seen as an entity or a being or a person that has consciousness, intentionality, autonomy, what we call willfulness, as well as rationality. So she has the ability to think, to communicate, to make choices. And these are what make her fully human. She also has rights, the right to express herself, right to associate, right, freedom to worship, and the rest of them. So the woman, all these things not only make her a woman, but all these qualities make her fully human. And whatever hinders all these qualities become an aberration against her nature, as well as her fundamental human rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Ms. Lally,
Yeah.
are you
Now,
saying anything?
my next comment
Any
is
other
this.
thing?
The
Please
professor and the
round up.
doctor have told us what a woman.
woman.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Sure,
Hello?
we can.
Okay. You have all described
Yes,
what a woman is.
comments. Yes.
And if we look at it, we have all that it takes for a woman to lead this country. We have all that it takes for a woman to become a governor or a senator or whatever, not the present number that we have. In this, today, the most celebrated Women International is the 35% affirmative, which means we either praise for quota or we now praise for reduction of ticket fee. Instead of paying 50 or 30 million, they should bring it down to a level that women can also be able to pay, because taking it high have caused a lot of, is one of the major reasons why we are having high rate of corruption. So we can go out as women to fight for either the quota or the reduction of cost of ticket for all these office political offices in Nigeria, because most of our discussion today, we are talking about the Nigeria as our domain. So we here, we should make sure that we go out there and fight, because our problem is that we sit down in the corner of our problem and be sulking and be complaining and refuse to do what we're supposed to do. What we need to do is for us to go there, meet the National Assembly. They should make laws that favor women. Ticket fee for governorship office, for senator, for president should not be more than necessary, because the money they are mentioning, how much are Nigerians earning, is not commensurate with what we are earning. Therefore, I want us, my advice today is that we should start meeting the office holders, our women, to start canvassing for us to be able to have our positions, either through quota or reduction of the fees of these parties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll not be able to take more questions. This opportunity to the chairman of COPDEM. He's going to say 2 words, and then we will call it a day. But before then, I would want to suggest, you mentioned the issue of finance now. You see, we cannot run away from the issue of employment. And we will have the issue of COPDEM very, very serious. Empowering women economically. The speaker mentioned something, and let me dwell on that. That has been my belief. We empower these women. Men politicians who are men, most times is either godfathers who sponsor them or their and colleagues. Let us do all we can to empower these women. If possible, having like a pause, well, start dropping something, support women, female politics, those that will contest towards 2027 election. Do all we can to mobilize. We can start mobilizing from the groups where we belong, even beyond COPDEM. Thank you so much. Second submission I want today is that the phrase, women are always against women, or there's a word, women are the problem of women. I really don't believe in that. We are not our problem. And the earlier we remove that phrase from our words and from lips, the better. Because it's a weapon the men are using to divide us. Thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, sir, it's yours. We want to hear from our father.
Thank you very much. I am so humbled to have been part of this summit, though I wasn't able to join from the beginning. In fact, I wanted to just peep in and just move away so that I'll allow mothers, our sisters to do their talk, but I could not. I'm saying, okay, the next 2 minutes, I'll just wait and go out. I had some calls. I said, cannot go out. I have learned a lot. In fact, I have learned a lot from this summit. I wish we could have this summit monthly. And I'm sure a lot of ground will be shaking. And maybe there could be notes or briefs from this very summit that we could share with the women folk. I'm glad our one and only artist within COPDEM, Amaka, is here to put these messages close together. I found one thing that Professor Zollinger said very profound, that um, this categorization, according to Keda, we are different, we are higher than them, has been biting and eating up even the affirmative action. It is key. I've not really actually opened my heart to it till she mentioned it. Once there is a unit of women, there is nothing they can't achieve. There is no single women action that has, as far as Nigeria is concerned, when they come out, that it has not yielded fruit. So once the top class women forget their titles and hold the hands of those in the lower classes, it's going to be very, very different. Unfortunately, that will take some work. During our training of Army officers' wives and those of the Air Force, the training rule was keep all your titles by the door. They were not the majors, they were not the generals, they were just the wife of the general. So it was then we got to know that the wife of the general also has the rank of the general when it comes to women's meeting. And it was something that shook us. And they had to maintain it throughout. So if we can break that class, women will do exploits in politics. Without eating further into your time, I will say thank you very much for allowing some of us men to attend, although we didn't wear our head ties or wrappers. And please, whatever has been discussed, would like to see the action come forth. Just by the wayside, I'm happy to let you know that for ADC, tickets for women are free. So you're welcome to join us. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, our wonderful chairman. I want to use this opportunity to thank our speakers, in particular, Dr. Chidi and Professor Zenjo. Thank you for sparing your time. Thank you for going next. Thank you for the research. Thank you for having sleepless nights to put in. We have really enjoyed what you have shared with us. And we look forward to time with you if you are willing in the future. So at this moment, I want to take my time to appreciate Maka, like our chairman said, she went extra mile. Dr. Queen, much. My team, Zona, other members of the Women Committee, COPDEM Women Committee, thank you so much. God bless each and every one of us. Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day,
Before we close
Women's Day,
this particular meeting, I would want our moderator, please. Thank you. So can we have a prayer from our moderator who had issues with her network and had to take over the moderation?
Thank you.
Mrs. Ladi?
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Ladandra?
Yes, can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yes, yes, can you hear? Hello?
We can hear you, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
We are going to pray. Heavenly Father.
You're audible. Go ahead. Closing prayer.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you. We want to bless your name. We want to glorify you. We return every praise, every glory that we receive today back to you because you alone is worthy. Father, you have spoken to our resource persons. In fact, they really brought out what we need to hear, what we need to know, what our problems are, what are the problems of the society about women. Father, we pray that today, all the enlightenment that we have received, that it should be useful to us, because we are going to put it into practice, trying to see that they make laws, push the National Assembly to make laws that favor women, make laws that will bring the amount of party fees low for women to be able to vie for offices, and not only that, to give women their quota. For the past how many years now, the quota that 35% by United Nations has been there, and yet women in Nigeria have not been able to access it. Father, we pray that in this 2027, you will push women to come out, you will push women to vie for offices, and when they vie for offices, Father, help them to win and take position, so that they will make laws that are favorable to women, that we encourage more women to go into politics. And maybe when we as mothers go into politics, this corruption may be down, because mothers know the pain of the future children. And we know that every woman is praying for grandchildren tomorrow. And if we squander what we have today, what will the future generation benefit from? Therefore, Father, please, we want you to put women there. Nevertheless, let your own will be done. We thank everyone that come for this meeting today. And we pray and hope that you will send every one of us back to our various destination in Jesus' name. Though we are speaking on phone, but whether it's from sitting room to bedroom, Father, may they go safely. We ask for your mercy. We ask for your grace. We ask for the opportunity to continue to look for the issue of women and the vulnerable ones like children and so on. Father, please, those women that the doctor, the prof that you have used today, please re-energize them, because we are going to use them more and more. We have benefited more. We have benefited so much today, and we still want to benefit from them. As we tap, Father, continue to increase them, so that we'll continue to benefit from them in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Good night.
Amen.
Good
You,
night,
Prof.
everyone. Say the second
Thank you,
International Women's Day.
Thank you for
Thank you,
giving us the privilege. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you.
The prof. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
missing you. That's actually wonderful. You. Thank you so much, my
All
Pally
right,
for life.